Welcome. I am going to show you how to paint your butterfly cutout. So this is the cutout with watercolor paper. Our first step is to wet both sides of the paper. So I'm going to start wetting the back. And the reason we do this is to keep the paper from warping too much, which affects the way that the paint flows. Then flip it over, get the front wet, and you want to be pretty generous with the water because the wetter it is, the more that the paints flow together. Get that nice watercolor effect. Now if you have the kit, you do have your practice paper you can practice on and see how wet you would like to have it. So once you get it all wet, then you're going to start painting. What I usually do is I start with the magenta, but obviously you can start with whatever you want. Just put some paint in some places and you can see how the water makes the paint flow. Next, rinse off your brush in between colors. Next, we'll put a little bit of gold in some places. And just dab it, and then the water will cause it to flow. And then add a little bit of blue. Now generally, I don't put any purple in at this point. I save that for at the end because your magenta and your blue, when they combine, they make purple. So you generally get some pretty nice purple colors without using the purple. After you get all your colors on there, you can sprinkle a little bit of the salt on. And you can see pretty quickly how the salt affects the water and will cause the paint to move, making some pretty cool effects. And then you can go back in and just any areas where the water is not flowing, you can just add a little bit. You don't want to do too much after you put the salt on, but just kind of bring the paint to the edges. And if there's an area that you think needs a little bit more color, you can add a little. But try not to paint over where you've put the salt. And you are going to be covering the edges with gold paint pen, so you don't have to get right to the edges, but you just touch it up a little bit. And also the body of the butterfly, you'll be painting another color, so you don't have to worry about that. And there you have it. Just let it sit. Don't touch it. Let it sit. Let the salt do its work. Let it dry. And then you can come back and see what you've got. And you can add a little bit more color at that time if you feel like you need to. Okay, we are back. And the butterfly, the paint is all dry now. So what I'm going to do is brush off the salt. And kind of feel where it is. Kind of show what it looks like. Now at this point, we could wet the paper again and add more color, but I'm happy with the way the colors came out. I don't really feel like I need to add anything. So the next step is to put a layer of gloss on the wings, which will prevent the paint, when we paint the body of the butterfly, it'll prevent the paint from going into the wings. So you're going to take your clear gel and just paint right over the wings. So go up alongside the body and out over the wings. And other side as well. Just right along the body. And then out onto the wings. And this also provides a gloss and it kind of heightens the color. And now we need to wait for that to dry, and then we will paint the body of the butterfly. Okay, now the gloss on the wings is dry, so it is time to paint the body of the butterfly. So obviously you can paint the body any color you want. I am going to paint it purple. You just dip your brush in the paint, and my brush is a little wet, and just paint right up on the body. And like I said, the gloss will keep it from flowing into the wings. So you just right on the body there. And then once again, let it dry. And once that is dry, you'll paint over the entire butterfly with another layer of gloss. Okay, so now the body of the butterfly is dry. So the next step is to put another layer of the gloss on both the body, and you can go ahead and add another layer to the wings. Just give it a little more coating and stability. Doing both wings. And as I said, this gloss helps bring out the color, make the colors a little bit more vibrant. And so I'm going to go ahead and let that dry. And then when that's completely dry, you can flip it over and put a layer of gloss on the back as well to help seal the paper. Okay, so now the gloss is dry on both sides. So the next step is to edge the butterfly with the gold paint pen. So for this you need to shake it when you first get started. And if it's a new pen, you need to push the tip up and down until the paint gets flowing. And I would recommend testing it out first before you go onto your butterfly. Make sure the paint is flowing well. And you're just going to take the marker and paint around the edges of the butterfly. Okay, so now the gloss is dry on both sides. So the next step is to edge the butterfly with the gold paint pen. So for this you need to shake it when you first get started. And if it's a new pen, you need to push the tip up and down until the paint gets flowing. And I would recommend testing it out first before you go onto your butterfly. Make sure the paint is flowing well. And you're just going to take the marker and paint around the edges of the butterfly. Now, I don't generally edge the body, but you're welcome to. It's your piece of art. And you can do whatever you want with it. Another thing you might want to do is put some little gold dots on the wings if you felt like it. And that's it. You have your beautiful butterfly. The last two steps to complete your butterfly is to glue on the reinforcement piece on the back and then to glue on a magnet. So for the reinforcement piece, take your glue and you just like a line of glue across the back, and then you're going to place it centered right between the wings. And then when that's dry, you'll take your magnet and glue it right in the center. And then you're done. Great. Thank you. Enjoy painting your butterflies.